Alrighty, let's jump in. Step number 5, simplify healthy eating. No dieting required. So I want you to remove the word diet from your vocabulary because diets don't work. Diets have never worked. Because a diet, as it relates to weight loss, not the official definition of the word diet, but diet as it relates to weight loss, generally implies that it's a temporary solution. So we will eat in a way temporarily to lose weight, and then we go back to our normal way of eating, which results in a weight gain, in the weight coming all the way back. So instead of thinking of a diet, think of developing and being committed to a system of eating that works for you, a system of eating that is aligned with healthy weight, is aligned with first weight loss, so you can get down to a healthy weight, and then aligned with maintaining a healthy weight. By this point, you should realize that the quick fixes never work. And no phrase is more appropriate than easy come, easy go. As in, if you lose it quickly, you're going to gain it back just as quickly. So now we are looking at a system of eating that works. This is not a quick fix. It does take time, but time is all you have. And what I will promise you is that if you commit to small, progressive, sustainable changes over time, all the weight you lose from here on out will never come back because you have changed the way you approach food. You've changed the way you think about food. So, yeah, you may have a slip up here and there. You may have a birthday party here and there, vacation or whatnot, but you will never go all the way back because you've trained your mind to eat in a completely different way, in a way that supports healthy weight. So always think of what is my system of eating. So some very simple things. Have protein with every meal. Protein is super important, not just because it builds muscle and repairs muscle. It strengthens your bones, ligaments, tendons, all your joints. It's great for brain health. But it's also important because uh, protein has what's called a high thermic effect, meaning that your body has to work a bit harder to break it down. And by doing that, it actually keeps you fuller longer and increases your metabolism. So protein is a superfood on the weight loss journey. The next thing you want to do is increase your veggies with lunch and dinner. Veggies, vegetables, are carbohydrates. So you don't have to cut out carbohydrates, nor do I advise you cutting out carbohydrates because carbohydrates are important. They're fuel for your body. But the type of carbohydrates make a difference. So carbs that come from bread, pasta, even rice, these foods aren't bad, but if your goal is weight loss, you want to get most of your carbohydrates from vegetables because they are lower in calories but higher in nutrients. They're called nutrient dense foods. And there's no limit. When I advise clients on the nutrition plan, I tell them there's no limit to how much veggies you can eat. You can eat big salads loaded with veggies, and because they're so low in calories, they will fill you up without you taking in extra calories to gain excess fat. So you would want at least half of your plate filled with veggies or filled with a big salad. And then the other quarter is filled with your protein. And then the last quarter would be a small portion of rice or pasta. Again, I'm not demonizing those foods, but they should make up a smaller portion where the bigger portion of your carbohydrates are coming from veggies and salad. The next thing you want to do, hydrate. Water is actually a very important tool on the weight loss journey because water flushes out toxins. It's great for your skin. It actually helps you feel a little bit satiated. It helps with digestion. And so you want to aim for anywhere between 1.5 to 2 liters of water a day. And 1.5 to 2 liters of water basically looks like three 500 ml water bottles, like an Aquafina or Dasani bottle. Those are 500 ml. So 3 or 4 of those per day, or the equivalent of. Or I have my water bottle right here. One of these. Fill that up and drink it throughout the day. The next one is plan simple meals. Now, I want to empower you a little bit. I want to empower you to be good at doing your own research. Right now with Google and then the boom in AI, there's so many tools available where you don't need someone like me telling you, giving you recipes and meal plans and workout programs, to be honest. If you go on ChatGPT or if you go on Google and just type in 5 ingredient meals, you'll have an exhaustive list of all sorts of meals that require 5 ingredients or less. And you can also put in 5 ingredient meals for vegetarians, 5 ingredient meals for pescatarians, 5 ingredient meals for diabetic friendly meal plans. The information is out there. And so I want to empower you to do your own research and to go find your own resources because it's literally on this laptop, it's right on your phone, it's at your fingertips. And you can get very creative with this. But the important word here is planning. So it's not about whipping up a recipe at 5:45 so that you can go start making dinner at 6 o'clock. Planning means planning ahead, which means taking some time on the weekend and going through what you're going to eat and when, and just having a plan for it, making sure you have the ingredients. And if you don't have the ingredients, scheduling the time to go make a grocery run so you can get everything ahead of time so that all you need to do is put it together when the time comes. Some other tips, just like eating at home, opt for protein, fiber, and healthy fat when you're going out, if you're eating out. I would actually say follow the same guidelines as if you're making dinner. So protein, veggies, um, carbohydrates on the plate. Don't be afraid to use healthy fats like avocado, olive oil. Nut butters are pretty good. The natural nut butters are really good as well. Fats are not the enemy. So don't be afraid of fats because we actually need fats for brain function, heart function. So again, it's you're looking at your overall calories. So while fats may have more calories, that's why you have less of it. It's still very important for your overall for the overall functioning of a healthy body. Next, if you're going on the road, if you're the type of person that's in and out, you want to pack your snacks, nuts, protein bars. Now, protein bars, just be careful with them because while they'll be high in protein and it'll say high protein, read the label and make sure that they're also not packed with sugar and packed with carbs because the carbs in protein bars are basically the nougat, the filling, and they're not really coming with a lot of nutrients. So be mindful. There are healthy protein bars out there, so do your research. Anything that has about 20 grams of protein in the bar, good to go. It can have carbohydrates, but if it has, 20, 30 grams of carbs to 20 grams of protein, that's a bit high because it's a small bar and it's going to be packed with calories. So just do your research. There's a lot of healthy protein bars out there. So that's when I say protein bars, that's what I'm referring to. Hard-boiled eggs, cheese sticks, not on this list, but definitely celery sticks, carrot sticks. You can do hummus and slice up some bell peppers. You can do a little container of natural peanut butter, slice up some apples and use it as a dip. Again, use the internet, use ChatGPT, use Google, type in healthy snacks for the road, and you'll have an exhaustive list of options. So this information is already out there for you. It's just you have to make the decision to be intentional and take action. And then finally, batch cooking for the week. So I know there's a lot of misconception around meal planning, and a lot of us don't like to meal plan because we think if we cook on Sunday, how's the food going to taste on Friday? Well, you don't have to. You don't have to cook for the entire week. You can season the food, you can chop up the veggies, you can season the meat, and then put it in the fridge or freezer, and then you can batch cook for 2 up to 3 days, so that you'll be prepared from Monday, Tuesday up until Wednesday, and then Wednesday the food that you're frozen, you can cook that for Thursday, Friday. So it's just about being smart. You don't have to cook everything at once, but taking an hour or two on the weekend and chopping up your veggies, seasoning your meat will save you about 6 to 7 hours a week, really, because you don't have to think, you don't have to prep, you just have to prepare it. And my wife and I have been doing this for 7, 8 years now, and we save ourselves so much time on the week during the week. And this is also important because one of the issues we have at this point in our life is feeling overwhelmed and feeling like we never have enough time and there's so much to do during the week. So investing a little bit of time on the weekend to meal prep, to plan your menu. Like I said, if we spend 2 hours on the weekend meal planning, we're saving ourselves 6 to 7, even 8 hours a week because we invested that 2 hours during the week. So I highly recommend that. So these are tactics. I want to share some mindset ideas, some perspective shifts for you. For example, when you think about food, generally right now, everyone knows what healthy eating is. Like, you know what's healthy versus unhealthy. You know that whole natural foods are healthy, vegetables, um, proteins that come from legumes, that come from animals, natural food, real food, food that used to grow, or food that used to run, walk, sleep, crawl, fly. That's healthy food. Unhealthy food are packaged things, things that have preservatives, things that have artificial flavors, things that have added salt and added sugar. Basically, the stuff in the middle of the grocery store, not on the outside of the store. That's so we all know this. Knowing that, think about your week. And the majority of us eat approximately 3 meals a day. Over the course of a week, 7 days, 7 times 3 meals, 21 meals a week. So you have 21 meals a week, which means you have 21 choices. And if you were to plan ahead for your dinners and your lunches and have a plan for breakfast, it is very easy for you to make at least 18 out of 21 good choices. Like, if you made 18 out of 21 choices that are aligned with healthy eating and weight loss, you're winning. You'll lose weight. Your body's going to be healthier. And I'm not saying 21 out of 21. I'm saying 18 out of 21, meaning there's always wiggle room. There's always space for you to eat something that you like. There's always space for you to have a treat here and there. But you have to be 85% compliant. If my math is right, 18 out of 21 is about 85% on. If you're 85% on, you still have 15% where you can enjoy a little bit. But the truth is, because we're never tracking what we eat, most of us aren't out of those 21 meal choices. We're not even winning on half of those. So if you make this simple shift, like I could, if I plan ahead, I could have a healthy dinner and lunch at least 4 days a week. Breakfast is probably the easiest thing to win. First thing in the morning, you can prep the night before. So if you could win all your breakfast, that's 7 right there. And if you can win the majority of your lunches and dinners, you're in. You're solid. So that's one way you wanna approach your thinking when it comes to food. But I want to take it one step further before we wrap. Remember, food is fuel. And remember, we've been given one body. We've been given one body, one mind, one opportunity. And if we were to pretend that you had a child, a newborn baby that you had to take care of, not a newborn baby, say a 4-year-old, 5-year-old who could eat the same food as us, how would you feed that child? You would feed that child all the healthy foods as possible. And if that child said, well, I'm worried about my weight and I want to go on a diet and I want to stop eating carbs, would you ever recommend to a child that they stop eating carbs or that they go on a juice cleanse or that they fast for 2 or 3 days or they cut out carbohydrates completely? No, we wouldn't do that. We know that that's not the most mature and appropriate way to approach healthy food. We do that. We choose that for ourselves because we're like, I can deal with it. I can handle it. But for a child, we wouldn't do that. And I want you to take that same approach with yourself. Stop thinking of food as, I got to eat something to keep going. Think of food as nourishment. Imagine you are taking care, if you're a car and you have a very expensive car, you have a very expensive Mercedes, or you have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, those cars cannot take regular gas because they will not function properly. But when you give those cars the right fuel, they will function better than every other car out there. And that's how you want to look at food. Food is not only fuel, but it's nourishment. If you love your child so much that you give them the best nourishment possible, show that same love and respect to yourself and give yourself the same nourishment, the best possible nourishment. Stop eating junk. Stop fueling yourself with junk. Yes, it'll be nice in the moment. It's a quick fix, but you still have to deal with the sugar crashes, the irritability, the hunger afterwards, the weight gain, the headaches, the lightheadedness. There's so much, there's a lot of tax that you have to pay when we eat this way. So in addition to recognizing that you have 21 choices every week, think of how best can you nourish your body. And if you think of food in terms of nourishment, I want you're giving your body and mind the best possible nourishment, only good things will happen. When we choose to keep feeding ourselves junk, it is a form of neglect and is 100% a form of self-abuse. Nothing's wrong with a treat here and there, but if we can chastise alcoholics and smokers for ruining their body, what's the difference between us and them if we don't chastise ourselves for the type of junk that we put into our body? So I wanted to end with these two concepts as you take these tactics into consideration and challenge yourself to have a completely different, fresh, healthy mindset towards food. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.